I can sense your exhaustion. It is practically palpable, and it is completely understandable, given that society has aggressively programmed you to treat your ultimate desires like elusive prey. You have been instructed from day one to track down your goals, corner them, and wrestle them to the ground through sheer force of will. The modern narrative has brainwashed you into assuming that the pathway connecting your current reality to your dream life must be built upon a foundation of severe, relentless fatigue. Think about the sheer amount of time, maybe months, or possibly even years, that you have dedicated to reciting hollow mantras that taste like deceit on your tongue. Consider the immense mental toll of visualizing a future that feels less like a prophecy and more like a desperate delusion, all while maintaining a plastic, artificial smile to mask a spirit that is buckling under the pressure. What you are experiencing right now is manifestation fatigue. It is the ultimate, widespread epidemic born out of today's trendy spiritual communities. Somehow, humanity managed to take the most effortless, intrinsic mechanism in the entire cosmos and twist it into an exhausting, high-anxiety hustle. We are foolishly attempting to manipulate the fluid, silent, and graceful architecture of the quantum realm, using the crude, burdensome bulldozers of dense, three-dimensional physical exertion. This mismatch in energy is the precise reason why the outcomes you so desperately crave remain perpetually out of your grasp. The critical error that the vast majority of spiritual seekers commit is rooted deeply in human biology. We are trying to call forth abundance while physically trapped in a state of survival. Within the architecture of your brain, there is a massive biological distinction between the act of forcing an outcome and the art of collapsing a timeline. When you operate in that dense 3D survival mode, the frantic pursuit we often label the grind, your entire nervous system is drowning in stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. You perceive your present life not as a gift, but as an obstacle course to be conquered, a glitch to be patched, or a massive chasm that you must desperately cross. When you operate from this panicked biological baseline, every single vision board you make and every visualization exercise you attempt merely reinforces a devastating truth. You do not currently possess what you are asking for. You are inadvertently screaming to the cosmos, "I am stuck over here. My ultimate dream is way over there, and I must bleed and sweat to bridge this terrifying divide." In the realm of quantum physics, we refer to this as a dualistic frequency. It is the ultimate broadcast of isolation and separation. True quantum creation, on the other hand, is merely the act of collapsing infinite potentials into a singular physical experience. It absolutely does not demand the grueling, back-breaking labor of your ego. Why? Because the specific version of life you are yearning for is already alive and well as a wave of probability within a boundless quantum sea. You aren't building a dream from the ground up. You are simply observing a pre-existing reality until it solidifies into your physical experience. Just pause for a moment and let the profound relief of that truth wash over you. You are not a tired laborer on a dusty construction site, agonizing over the placement of every single brick. Rather, you are a calm, centered observer wandering through an infinite art gallery, simply deciding which magnificent painting you would like to step inside. Yet, so few people adopt this approach because humanity has a toxic addiction to struggle. We carry this deep-seated belief that without immense suffering, we are unworthy of the prize. We have tragically confused energetic friction with actual forward momentum. This introduces a concept I refer to as the paradox of friction. It is arguably the most baffling, counterintuitive rule governing the quantum universe. This paradox dictates that the more desperately you crave a specific outcome, the more powerfully you guarantee it will never arrive. The sheer emotion of wanting locks you into the vibrational frequency of deprivation. You are emitting a continuous signal of deficiency. Imagine yourself as a massive transmission tower, blasting a deafening, high-frequency alarm that declares, "I am hollow, I am in waiting, I am incomplete." Because the quantum universe acts as a flawless, emotionless mirror, it has no choice but to bounce that exact same frequency right back into your reality. It delivers precisely what you embody. If you are embodying the essence of someone who is always wanting, The universe will dutifully supply you with endless scenarios that require more waiting, deeper yearning, and an even greater distance from your goal. The intense physical and mental labor you are putting in actually constructs an invisible, energetic fortress that blocks your desires from entering your life. You are throwing all your weight against a door that clearly says, pull. We desperately need to internalize the fact that the quantum environment is not a mystical fairy godmother granting wishes. It possesses no sentience to reward your moral goodness, your struggle, or your stubborn persistence. It is simply an unbiased, objective framework of information that reacts only to your internal equilibrium. It is completely deaf to your spoken words. Instead, it is fluent in the language of your nervous system. If you are vibrating with internal scarcity while screaming affirmations about massive wealth, the universe ignores the screaming and aligns strictly with the scarcity. It calibrates to the truest baseline of your energetic signature. This is precisely why the elegant simplicity of true manifestation catches so many off guard. It demands that you abandon the singular habit you have been conditioned to rely on since birth, the endless pursuit. It requires a radical pivot from the identity of a seeker to the identity of an embodier. When we discuss the monumental leap from exhausting 3D hustle to flawless quantum alignment, we are talking about a complete, cellular rewiring of your spiritual and energetic anatomy. In our dense physical reality, we are chained to the concept that seeing is believing. We refuse to feel abundant until the bank account is overflowing. We refuse to feel cherished until the perfect romantic partner walks through the door. We refuse to feel vibrant until the illness has vanished. This is the ultimate loop of survival. It holds you hostage, making your internal emotional climate entirely dependent on external circumstances. However, the quantum universe functions on the exact inverse of this rule. In that realm, feeling is seeing. You are required to firmly plant the internal frequency of security, completeness, and arrival long before the tangible world can shift its molecules to mirror your state. You must first become the destination before the journey can finally conclude. The core reason this paradigm shift feels so incredibly daunting for the average person is that our physical bodies have developed a literal chemical dependency on the anxiety of the chase. We equate panic with productivity. We mistakenly believe we are taking meaningful action when, in reality, we are just spiraling in an obsession over the how and the when. Within the vast architecture of the quantum realm, orchestrating the precise details of how your desires will manifest is entirely outside your job description. That logistical heavy lifting belongs exclusively to the universal field itself. This boundless intelligence possesses an infinite array of pathways, serendipities, and connections that your restricted, three-dimensional human intellect could never possibly comprehend. Whenever you attempt to micromanage the journey and figure out the exact sequence of events, you are drastically constricting the size of your manifestation. You are taking a limitless expanse of cosmic potential and aggressively shoving it through the microscopic keyhole of human logic. All this does is generate an immense amount of energetic drag within a delicate ecosystem that was fundamentally built for frictionless flow. Engaging in authentic quantum creation demands a brutal, radical level of internal transparency. It requires you to survey your present circumstances, the exact number in your bank account, the current state of your romantic life, the condition of your physical health, and recognize that these are not permanent, immutable facts. They are merely the lingering shadows of your former vibrational states. They are the stale leftovers of the energetic broadcast you were transmitting yesterday. The tragedy is that the majority of humanity wastes their entire existence merely reacting to these shadows. They witness an echo of scarcity. Panic sets in, and their fear instantly broadcasts a brand new frequency of lack, which inevitably produces yet another echo of scarcity. They remain entirely trapped in an endless, dense loop of their own making. To shatter this cycle, you must evolve into a coherent, intentional observer. You must train your focus to pierce through the illusions of the present echo and securely anchor your consciousness within the specific wave of probability that you genuinely intend to solidify. This represents the monumental leap from simply trying to fully embodying. Whenever you are stuck in the phase of trying, you are operating as an outsider desperately peering through the glass. But when you transition into embodying, you actually become the essence of the desire itself. Please understand, this has absolutely nothing to do with the toxic hustle culture mantra of fake it until you make it. That phrase is a deeply flawed 3D illusion grounded in psychological deception and exhausting effort. Instead, this is the profound art of becoming it until you witness it. It requires you to calibrate and stabilize your internal emotional landscape so profoundly that the external physical world is left with absolutely no alternative but to rearrange itself to match your vibration. The quantum field is perpetually eavesdropping on the foundational frequency of your existence. It is patiently waiting for you to silence the chaotic noise of your own struggling so that it can finally detect the pure, uninterrupted signal of your true alignment. Therefore, as we embark on this transformative exploration together, I invite you to confront a deeply revealing, perhaps even uncomfortable question. If the exact life you have been dreaming of materialized right in front of you at this very second, if it was undeniably yours right now, would you still be inhaling and exhaling with the same shallow tension you are holding in? This moment, would your shoulders remain hiked up to your ears in a state of defense? Would your brain still be frantically calculating the next 50 steps? Or would you be instantly washed over by an immense heavy wave of profound relief? That specific sensation of deep relief is the exact frequency required to trigger a quantum collapse. That exhalation of tension is the definitive signal that alerts the universal field that the work is complete. The heavy burden of struggle you have been proudly carrying is not some noble badge of honor. It is the very anchor chaining you to an outdated, unwanted timeline. We are collectively migrating out of the exhausting era of relentless hustle and stepping into the sovereign era of energetic frequency. We are abandoning the terrifying delusion that you are a small, isolated being battling against a cold, indifferent universe. Instead, we are awakening to the truth that you are a deeply integrated, powerful co-creator, interacting with a highly responsive, intelligent web of light. Manifestation isn't a struggle because the cosmos is holding out on you. It is a struggle because our internal worlds are incredibly noisy. We are constantly sabotaging our own energetic broadcasts with the loud static of our deep-seated doubts and the suffocating friction of our constant over-effort. The solution moving forward does not involve cramming more esoteric rituals into your morning routine. It is entirely about extracting the deep-rooted resistance from your energetic field. It is about mastering the art of absolute stillness, becoming so incredibly quiet that the swirling waves of pure potential can finally locate your coordinates. Throughout the upcoming segments of this series, we will dissect the literal, practical mechanics of how this phenomenon works. We will explore exactly how your physical nervous system functions as the ultimate cosmic radio dial, and examine how the scientific phenomenon known as the observer effect is actively working either to your immense benefit or your profound detriment during every single second you are awake. We will uncover exactly why your subconscious mind is currently dominating the war over your physical reality, and more importantly, how you can permanently rewrite its operating script. But for this present moment, I just want you to allow the crushing weight of the endless chase to slide off your back. Acknowledge that choosing simplicity is absolutely not an indicator of apathy or laziness. Rather, it is the ultimate hallmark of energetic mastery. The field does not demand your flawless perfection. It only requires your vibrational coherence. The time has finally arrived to stop violently shoving against a closed door and, for the first time in your life, simply step back and allow it to swing wide open. To genuinely comprehend why your current reality has taken its specific shape, we must peel back the curtain and examine the invisible, underlying architecture of the observer. In the rigorous domain of quantum physics, the observer effect is a proven law demonstrating that the simple act of watching a particle fundamentally alters its trajectory and behavior. Prior to your observation, a particle exists purely as a wave of limitless potential, occupying multiple realities simultaneously. The exact fraction of a second you direct your conscious awareness toward it, that fluid wave instantly collapses into a singular, tangible, solidified event. Let me be clear. This is not some poetic spiritual metaphor for how your life works. This is the literal scientific mechanism generating your daily existence. However, this is precisely where the vast majority of modern manifestation gurus lead you astray. They operate under the false assumption that the observer is solely comprised of your waking, conscious thoughts. They mistakenly believe that simply because you spent 10 minutes this morning daydreaming about a luxury vehicle or a perfect romantic partner, you are successfully observing that specific timeline into physical existence. What they fail to mention is that your conscious mind accounts for a mere 5% of your total cognitive horsepower. The remaining 95% belongs entirely to your subconscious, the vast, silent, deeply submerged basement of your identity. This means that while your conscious 5% is desperately trying to visualize endless abundance, your subconscious 95% is heavily invested in observing your lack. Your deeply buried subconscious is the actual observer that the quantum field is listening and responding to. It is the hidden dimension of your psyche that was meticulously programmed by your early childhood experiences, your historical traumas, your past failures, and the inherited anxieties of your ancestors. If your subconscious operating system harbors a deep-seated conviction that the world is inherently dangerous, or that you are fundamentally undeserving of an easy life, it will relentlessly observe and subsequently collapse only the specific timelines that validate and confirm those exact fears. You can craft 1,000 beautiful, meticulously detailed vision boards, but they will be rendered entirely useless if your subconscious mind continues to view the world through a terrified, survival-driven lens. The cosmic fabric acts as a perfect, unyielding mirror, but it absolutely does not reflect your fleeting daydreams or desperate wishes. Instead, it reflects your energetic baseline. It perfectly replicates the exact identity you embody during those mundane moments when you are not actively trying to attract anything at all. This reality introduces us to the tangible, biological hardware responsible for your creation process, your autonomic nervous system. You must begin to view your nervous system as the ultimate cosmic tuning dial, the singular mechanism that dictates exactly which energetic frequencies you are capable of tapping into within the field. The tragic reality is that the vast majority of humanity operates within a relentless, low-grade state of fight or flight. We exist in a perpetual brace position, holding our breath, anxiously anticipating the next disaster. We navigate our daily lives wrapped in hypervigilance, constantly scanning our surroundings for invisible threats. Whenever your physical body is locked into this severe biological contraction, you become physically and structurally incapable of collapsing a high-frequency timeline into your reality. Consider the primal biology behind this. If your primal brain believes a predator is chasing you, it immediately shuts off access to luxury desires. It doesn't care about delivering a creative epiphany, overflowing wealth, or a deeply aligned romantic partner. It only cares about keeping you breathing until tomorrow. Consequently, your auric field shrinks, becoming incredibly dense and highly defensive. You essentially broadcast a continuous, glaring emergency beacon, and the universe flawlessly responds by delivering an abundance of new crises that force you to remain in that exact survival loop. This biological phenomenon explains exactly why your daily mantras ring hollow and fail to produce tangible results. If you are loudly declaring, "I am a magnet for wealth," while your cellular biology is screaming in absolute terror because your bank balance is plummeting, you are transmitting a fractured, chaotic signal. In the realm of quantum physics, a fractured signal is nothing more than static noise, and the universal field is entirely blind to static noise. It demands absolute energetic coherence. Coherence is achieved in that rare, profound moment when your mental chatter and your deepest emotions sing the exact same note. It occurs when your brain, which emits an electrical charge, and your heart, which generates a magnetic pull, align in flawless synchronization. This specific intersection is where true miraculous power is generated. Groundbreaking studies from institutions like HeartMath have scientifically proven that the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart is exponentially more massive and powerful than the one produced by the brain. Your heart's magnetic aura extends several feet beyond your physical skin, actively communicating with the quantum environment long before a conscious thought ever forms. If your heart is constricted by hidden panics, the positive affirmations generated by your brain are merely a fragile whisper desperately trying to be heard over the deafening roar of a jet engine. To fundamentally alter the trajectory of your life, you are required to intentionally migrate out of that frantic fight or flight response and sink deeply into the restorative state of rest and digest the ultimate domain of biological coherence. This physiological calm is the one and only environment where the quantum fabric becomes truly pliable. Once your nervous system is deeply regulated and finally registers that it is safe, a beautiful cascade occurs. Your heart chakra bursts open, your frantic brain waves downshift into slower, hypnotic rhythms, and your electromagnetic signature expands exponentially. You cross a sacred threshold, evolving from being a stressed somebody aggressively battling for a something in the rigid world of space and time. Instead, you dissolve into nobody, attaching to no thing, existing nowhere, within the boundless, timeless void of the quantum field. Within this sublime emptiness, the agonizing distance between your current self and your ultimate desire instantly evaporates. You stop obsessing over getting somewhere, because energetically, you are already everywhere. This physiological shift is how you turn the dial. If you genuinely wish to tune into the wavelength of immense prosperity, you are mandated to cultivate the visceral sensation of supreme safety within your physical tissue first. Conscious creation is not a cerebral puzzle. It is an entirely somatic, full-body immersion. The exact wave collapse that quantum physicists observe under microscopes must first occur within your own bloodstream and musculature. Recall the profound sensation of a sudden, heavy sigh of relief. Think about that exact fraction of a second when you receive incredible news you have been agonizingly waiting for, and watch how every muscle fiber in your body instantly melts. That specific biological melting is a quantum collapse. That wave of profound relief is the definitive broadcast notifying the universe that your agonizing search has concluded. The monumental secret that the mainstream spiritual community hides from you is this: you hold the power to rehearse and master that exact physical sensation of immense relief long before the good news ever arrives. In truth, you are absolutely required to practice it. You must systematically train your biology to accept that the manifestation has already been finalized. You must consciously abandon the anxious, tight, and frantic vibration of seeking and fully step into the heavy, grounded, and intensely present vibration of arrival. By genuinely inhabiting the frequency of total fulfillment right now, you permanently resign from your role as the observer of deprivation. You elevate yourself to the observer of ultimate completion. Once the universal field detects this unwavering, highly coherent transmission, it immediately initiates the process of reorganizing physical matter to mirror your internal tranquility. This is not sorcery or fairy tale magic. It is simply the universe taking the path of least energetic resistance. The cosmos is eternally striving to match your heaviest, most dominant broadcast. If your cells are constantly radiating the message, "I am utterly whole," the field will rapidly calculate the most efficient route to deliver the physical proof of that wholeness directly to your doorstep. Achieving this, however, demands that you become the undisputed master of your own internal ecosystem. It requires immense self-awareness to catch yourself the very second you slide back into the defensive, tense posture of your old survival timeline. When you notice that contraction, you must gently but assertively guide your nervous system back into the expansive, receptive posture of your new reality. The sheer simplicity of this requirement is exactly what makes it so incredibly difficult for people to grasp. We are convinced we need a convoluted, highly complex ritual, but all we actually require is a calm, regulated nervous system. We incorrectly assume we must exert more physical force, when what we truly need is profound energetic clarity. The quantum realm is not a cold, mechanical bulldozer for you to operate through sheer force. It is an intuitive, fluid dance partner waiting for your cue. When you confidently lead the dance with a stable internal frequency, the universe flawlessly follows, gracefully delivering the external evidence you desire. However, the moment you begin obsessively scanning your external environment for evidence that your manifestation is working, you instantly sabotage the entire operation. By anxiously checking for proof, you immediately slip right back into the identity of the skeptical, doubtful observer. In that exact fraction of a second, you forcefully collapse the quantum wave back into the timeline of not having it yet. This vicious, heartbreaking cycle is exactly what keeps millions of people paralyzed for decades. They are desperately waiting for their external circumstances to magically improve so that they can finally grant themselves permission to feel peace. But they have it entirely backward. The physical world is patiently waiting for them to feel peace so that it can finally shift. How do we shatter this paralyzing loop? The true remedy has nothing to do with thinking harder. It requires actively addressing the unresolved trauma and outdated survival programming currently trapped within your cellular memory. We must completely abandon the exhausting attempt to intellectualize our way out of poverty or loneliness, and instead, intuitively feel our way back into a baseline of profound biological safety. We achieve this by anchoring into our physical breath, harnessing the power of absolute present moment awareness, and intentionally soothing our frayed nervous system until the internal emergency sirens finally power down. You must actively prove to your physical biology, right here and right now, that you are entirely safe. This somatic regulation is the actual, legitimate work. The universe does not care if you spend 5 hours a day forcing visualizations. It only responds to the amount of time you spend marinating in a state of authentic, emotional coherence. Your results are dictated entirely by the underlying quality of your existence, not the sheer quantity of your mental effort. As we transition into the concluding phase of this energetic exploration, I invite you to envision your entire physical vessel as a massive, high-powered broadcasting tower. With every single heartbeat, you are continuously transmitting a definitive frequency declaring exactly who you believe you are and how you perceive the universe. The quantum field is nothing more than the passive antenna receiving your broadcast. If you are sitting on the couch and absolutely despise the movie playing on your television screen, you wouldn't stand up and start screaming at the glass monitor. You would simply change the channel. The exact same logic applies to your life. Change your internal broadcast. We have now arrived at the absolute frontier of conscious creation, the pivotal threshold where your logical intellect must finally surrender to pure, embodied experience. You now fully recognize that your body is the transmission tower, and your nervous system acts as the tuning dial. Yet, there remains one monumental obstacle that successfully derails even the most disciplined spiritual practitioners from stepping into their ultimate reality. That obstacle is humanity's deeply entrenched, almost addictive obsession with requiring tangible proof before offering genuine trust. We have been brainwashed by our dense, three-dimensional upbringing to operate under the assumption that seeing is believing. However, within the fluid, multi-dimensional architecture of the quantum universe, this is a catastrophic inversion of reality. If you are stubbornly withholding your energetic alignment until the physical evidence finally materializes, you are explicitly broadcasting to the universe that you are currently empty-handed. And, as we have already established, the infinite field will flawlessly validate your broadcast. It will gladly supply you with an abundance of empty-handedness. To permanently sever this self-sabotaging loop, you must become a master of navigating the path of absolute least energetic resistance. This journey begins with a radical, non-negotiable commitment to embodying the fully realized, finished version of yourself today. Operating as this finished version does not mean you must participate in some exhausting, delusional theatrical performance where you pretend your current stack of bills magically vanished. That requires immense mental strain, and strain breeds energetic friction. True embodiment is infinitely more subtle and profoundly quieter. It is a deep, internal settling of your spirit. It is the definitive choice to permanently resign from the exhausting job of being a seeker. Just analyze the fundamental energy of a seeker for a moment. A seeker is perpetually starving, always hunting, endlessly striving, and forever looking over the horizon. The entire identity of a seeker is constructed upon the massive, agonizing gap between where they currently stand and the prize they desperately want. If you refuse to drop the seeker label, your baseline vibration will always remain locked on the frequency of the chase. To successfully manifest, the seeking must completely stop so the being can commence. You are required to fully inhabit the psychological framework of the person who has already crossed the finish line. That victorious version of you does not spend their Tuesday afternoon anxiously wondering if the universe's mechanics are functioning properly. They do not frantically refresh their mobile banking app with a violently racing heart, praying for a spontaneous miracle. They are deeply anchored in unshakable peace. They are unwavering. They are completely coherent. This profound metamorphosis from a frantic seeker into a sovereign co-creator often unfolds during a critical period we might refer to as the integration window. The very second you make the definitive, unwavering internal choice to finally drop the sword and abandon the struggle, your entire energetic aura undergoes a radical, sweeping recalibration. During these initial days of integration, the stubborn remnants of your old reality, the physical echoes we discussed earlier, will absolutely still be visible in your environment. You will likely stare at the exact same frustrating bank balance or face the exact same annoying criticisms from those around you. This specific phase is your ultimate cosmic testing ground. The vast majority of people witness this temporary delay in physical results, and they experience a massive energetic wobble. Panic sets in. They falsely conclude the process is a scam, and they instantly sprint back to the familiar, miserable 3D safety net of chronic worry, micromanagement, and suffocating control. You absolutely must internalize the fact that physical matter is incredibly dense and sluggish. It simply requires a buffer of time for the molecular structure of your reality to physically catch up to the lightning speed of your new quantum broadcast. Your singular responsibility during this delicate waiting period is not to aggressively fix your external circumstances, but rather to ruthlessly protect your internal coherence, regardless of the terrifying illusions the outside world attempts to show you. Successfully navigating this wobble is the ultimate hallmark of an energetic master. When the ghosts of your former timeline desperately try to drag you backward, when you inevitably feel that old, familiar, suffocating tightening of panic in your chest, you must explicitly refuse to fight it. Going to war with your own fear only generates more friction. Instead, you must immediately deploy the protocol of absolute surrender. The precise millisecond you catch yourself white-knuckling the steering wheel of your life, you must consciously, physically pry your fingers loose, take a deep breath, and quietly announce to the universal field, I fully release the need to orchestrate exactly how this unfolds, because I have already become the exact person who has received it. In doing so, you effortlessly glide out of the heavy, restrictive state of needing and gracefully land in the boundless, magnetic state of allowing. Authentic mastery over the quantum realm is absolutely never born from forcefully dictating the movement of the tides. Instead, your genuine supremacy lies in cultivating a profound, unshakable stillness, becoming so perfectly quiet that the cascading waves of your destiny can effortlessly locate your shores. The concept of surrender is tragically misunderstood by the masses as a symptom of weakness or a white flag of defeat. In reality, it is the most courageous, ultimate demonstration of cosmic faith. It signifies a profound awakening to the fact that your restricted human intellect could never possibly engineer a more magnificent outcome than the boundless, infinite intelligence of the universe. So, why is this incredibly straightforward concept so universally ignored? Simply because abandoning the frantic chase feels like a literal death sentence to your human ego. The ego is highly addicted to the agonizing grind. It desperately yearns to be the celebrated protagonist of a harrowing tale, conquering mountains strictly through exhausting willpower, informing your ego that its agonizing exertion is actually the exact barricade preventing your success is a devastating blow to its entire identity. Yet, this brings us to the ultimate, unspoken paradox of creation. The precise millisecond you genuinely stop desperately needing a desire to manifest, you finally grant the universal field, the energetic clearance to drop it right into your lap. The moment you release the agonizing grip of need, you simultaneously evaporate the heavy frequency of lack. With the lack completely eradicated, all energetic friction vanishes into thin air. You instantly transform into a crystal-clear, frictionless conduit, empowering the quantum matrix to collapse infinite probabilities into physical density with staggering, breathtaking velocity. You permanently graduate from being an isolated, lonely fragment aggressively battling against a hostile universe, and instead, you become the universe itself, miraculously experiencing its own majesty through your physical vessel. As you fully embody this sovereign identity of the divine co-creator, your entire perception of time will dramatically fracture and reorganize. You will no longer endure a miserable existence constantly waiting for a mystical tomorrow where life finally gets better. You will anchor yourself firmly in the eternal now, where your existence is already flawlessly whole. You will awaken to the ultimate truth that a flourishing bank account, a deeply fulfilling romance, and vibrant physical health are absolutely not cosmic trophies awarded for your back-breaking labor. They are merely the automatic, inevitable, biological side effects of your internal energetic coherence. You do not forcefully acquire these things. You vibrationally match them. When you actually become the living frequency of prosperity, prosperity is the only possible reality that can populate your physical environment. It simply cannot be otherwise. This is not some fluffy, abstract philosophical theory. It is a rigid, undeniable law of quantum physics. The observer and the object being observed are intrinsically, indivisibly one. The moment the observer fundamentally alters their internal broadcast, the external environment is forced to rapidly reorganize its molecular structure to stay in perfect harmony with that new signal. I strongly urge you to permanently anchor this massive energetic pivot right now, in this exact second. Make this the definitive moment you declare the war is over. The battle hasn't ended because you magically micromanaged and fixed every single problem. It has ended because you have consciously chosen to simply put down your weapons. Take a deep, intentional inhale and deeply feel the silent expanse existing between your rushing thoughts. Within that sacred, empty space, there is zero deprivation. Inside that void, there is absolutely no obsessive calculating of the how. There is only the unwavering, magnetic availability of infinite potential. This serene emptiness is your actual, eternal home. Every single time you consciously guide your awareness back into this sanctuary of coherence, you are planting a permanent quantum seed. You are aggressively broadcasting to the cosmos that you are finally ready to operate at a master level. You are done begging for permission to be powerful. You are simply choosing to embody that power. As we draw this specific transmission to a close, please internalize that this is an active, living, breathing practice. You are human. You will absolutely experience moments of wobble. Your faith will occasionally falter, and you will inevitably try to violently snatch the steering wheel back from the universe. When that happens, I implore you, do not weaponize judgment against yourself. Self-judgment is just another dense layer of energetic friction. Just gently observe the panic, take a grounding breath, and seamlessly steer your consciousness back into the frequency of the arrival. The quantum field is infinitely forgiving, infinitely patient, and hyper-responsive. It is simply waiting for you to cultivate the bravery required to keep things simple. It is waiting for you to become still enough so that your true signal can finally be heard over the noise. You are the master sculptor, the infinite wave, and the conscious observer all rolled into one. The magnificent masterpiece of your life is already painted and framed. You simply must become the person capable of seeing it. Before you exit this space, I invite you to participate in one small, highly potent act of quantum anchoring. Down in the comment section below, I want you to leave a single word that definitively labels the exact energetic state you are choosing to step into today. Crucially, do not comment the word of the physical object you want. Comment the essence of what you are right now. Is it ease? Is it completeness? Is it trust? By actively typing it out, you are planting a tangible flag in the quantum field. You are physically declaring your brand new energetic baseline to the world. And if this deep exploration has struck a chord within the deepest part of your soul, the part that has always secretly known life was never supposed to be this agonizingly hard, then I warmly invite you to join our family. Hit that subscribe button right now and anchor your energy into a powerful collective that passionately prioritizes vibrational coherence far above toxic hustle culture. We are the pioneers actively mastering the native tongue of the universe. And trust me, we are only just getting started. The exhausting chase is officially over. The beautiful reunion has finally begun. I will see you in our next transmission.